Hey folks, so I'm trying to figure out fun jobs, hamburgers, let's say. Okay, we'll talk about hamburgers first because it seems like the easier thing. If it takes, to make a good hamburger, you gotta have hamburger meat, which comes from a cow, ground it up and chuck meat or something like that, and then maybe some turkey meat or something. I don't know. I mean, they make hamburger meat so many different ways. And if I was gonna say turkey meat, well, I live in Tampa, Florida, so naturally we do have some turkeys out here, but I don't think it's a natural place for turkeys to be. I think they kind of like a little bit colder weather. But, we have cows down here because I've seen them. But I've never seen a lettuce plantation or a lettuce. Well, the thing is, why don't we have all the ingredients and all the jobs it takes to make a hamburger down here, from tomato sauce to ketchup to mustard or relish, to make a really good hamburger. We need that in the community. And some of those jobs aren't fun, but the mustard seed it takes, all that stuff needs to grow down here. Tomatoes, everything in the community of a county, let's say. I don't know everything about the county. I know there's probably tomato patches, and there's probably onion patches, and that people grow in their home gardens. But the thing is, why doesn't the government want that? Why doesn't the government want us to have all the ingredients to make the food that people are gonna really eat a lot? Well, there's no telling what people want. We got all these fast food companies that come in and they box all those ingredients up, served out in a day. They get so many deliveries dropped off. That's why their shelves are not always bare looking, because they run through all the product, but they just throw everything in the garbage. Goes into a landfill, and we call it a day. Thousands and thousands of pounds of lettuce and tomatoes and onions and hamburger meat we waste a day because we're not getting it from around the corner where sadly they have cut out the prep worker. There's no prepping and cooking no more. Everything's all boxed up. So that's just a job that they're kind of taking away, being a prep cook. You have almost like a simulated cooker, like a microwave cooker, when you go to these fast food joints. It's not really if they had, say, I don't know, air fried hamburgers, that could do something with global warming. But they don't want to do something with global warming. It's let's go to fun jobs. They don't want to have fairs, year-round fairs where people are eating corn dogs and hamburgers and pizza, all the same stuff that McDonald's and all these other companies would jump into, but people are riding these circus type rides, for fun. It would sell, but you don't have time in your day to have fun. You have time in your day to give to somebody. And that's the man. That's the landlords. They want to track you down. They want to be able to know exactly where you are at, and make sure you're working or in traffic. If you were in a fair, you wouldn't be in traffic, would you? All the lanes in your county to have your county fair would be there. We have all these lines, these county lines, but we don't have anything to have any fun in your county. Maybe Hillsborough County is just like a horrible place to, to really like settle into. I mean, I don't know why people want to go to Hillsborough County anyways, because, say if we do happen to get piss off some other countries really bad, our United States government, Hillsborough County is the first county to go. Tampa, boom, Air Force Base, easy target, peninsula state, and then they'll just basically, we have no evacuation plan to leave Tampa. We don't even make Tampa a fun place to live in. So, if we die tomorrow, at least, you say, hey, I had some fun at the circus drinking and eating hamburgers, partying, they can make a fair fun, They have everybody working at a fair, but they want everybody working for the government. It's kind of hard to tax all the stuff that it would take to run a fair. They ain't got that completely figured out, how to tax everything and say, well, if you guys are going to run this fair year round, then you're going to have to pay us, $25,000 a day. There's something that they have with Busch Gardens and stuff like that for running every day. There's a lot of tax credits, because I don't know if Busch Gardens is technically not owned by the government. And I guess with Ron DeSantis, we found out Walt Disney isn't, but they make sure that they get their taxes from them too. It's unfair life. Talk about Bernie Sanders the other day in the No Kings protest, coming out and saying, what he said was, we won the Revolutionary War. We lost the Revolutionary War. We're still paying tax. Isn't that what we ran from, is religious beliefs and paying taxes? We lost that war. We still got all the fucking same shitty ass religions. We brought the Christianity over here. If we brought Buddha over here, it might have been a little bit better, or Krishna. But no, we destroyed America. We lost that war. Bernie Sanders is nothing but a fucking liar.